It's a recession. So today, too, well, after finishing the lecture, while I was coming back in the car, we were talking about a few things. And since traffic was a bit heavy, I mentioned that because of Bitcoin, the people who are rising up now in Nepal and those in France will be able to rise up because of Bitcoin. Or so I think. So, this kind of desperate cry will be heard. It's quite paradoxical. But while I am explaining Bitcoin to you all in a positive light, when people say they can't live because of Bitcoin, what that means is that democracy is currently a very important standard of value for us. You all probably thinking we're not that way, but whether democracy actually reflects reality properly is another matter. Whether it works in practice is a different issue. Still, democracy is the ideal and positive standard that people think of. But whether that microscopically not talking about a short period of time, but over a long period, can it hold up? When looking at that, if various conditions are met, it can hold up. But if those various conditions are not met, it will break. A representative example of this is something like pension reform. So in the end, this kind of spell called democracy works, but through politics, continuously. Now those words research that doesn't work is when plans keep getting pushed off to future generations. But eventually, because of that contradiction, it collapses because it can't handle the load. But there are no democratic leaders who have taken responsibility for that. Because if they tried to sort it out, they would probably have to risk their lives. That kind of democratic passion, not democratic passion, but democratic pressure. I mean, it's the pressure of whether the pressure of the majority is moving in a good direction. If the pressure of the majority always moved in a good direction, then politicians would simply be public servants, or as they say, public slaves. So by public servant, I mean they'd just be servants of the public. And if they could just mechanically carry out the demands of the majority, that would be it. But in reality, for a democracy to be healthy, it requires a balance between the elite and the masses. That's what the founding of the U.S., the founding fathers knew, that if they went completely with people's democracy, it would just fall apart. That's why the American Republic is a blend of the strengths of an aristocracy into democracy. That manifests in things like the bicameral system of the Senate and House, or the winner-take-all system in presidential elections. In the case of the Supreme Court, there was no room for democratic intervention at all, and the same goes for the Fed. But gradually, society has come under the pressure of democracy will be. Then,